history. 9/11 is a difficult anniversary for our country. And you know, this year our prayers are with those Americans and those families whose lives were lost in Libya. And particularly today, Navy SEAL Tyrone Woods, whose family has the unspeakable challenge of burying this brave young man today. So, if you would all join me and pause for just a moment for all the brave Americans who prove that every day that freedom is not free. Thank you. Just like we came together 11 years ago in the face of great challenges, our country is coming together during this, the most critical election of our lifetimes. You know, today I got the honor of actually having a few women behind me that I know from Massachusetts. And I want you to be aware of some things. As governor, half of Mitt's cabinet and senior staff were women. And some of them are here right now. In fact, that Mitt, when he was governor, was ranked as #1 every year for having more women in his senior positions. The women in Mitt's administration were at the heart of the economic turnaround in Massachusetts. His chief of staff was a woman. His lieutenant governor was a woman. And together, these women on the stage and those other women were women that helped Mitt to change the environment for business, put the economy and job creation on a growth path. His Secretary of Business and Technology, Romney. She works with Mitt to create jobs during his administration. His Secretary of Consumer Affairs and Business Regulations, Beth. Where's Beth? Beth Lindsay. This is a great job. Her job was to go through all the regulations, slowing down business startups and growth and cut red tape. Restructure the regulations, slowing down new business startups. And she did this by shifting key business startup approvals to 0-day approvals. Another woman I'll introduce, I knew very well because she also worked with Mitt at the Olympics, and I was very involved in a lot of the things that she cared about at the Olympics, Cindy Gillespie. We followed through with, and Cindy sort of oversaw all of that. So the bottom line is, having these women here, having me here, having all these women in the audience, is to know that Mitt put women in key leadership positions to help create job growth, cut regulations, red tape, make energy affordable, and turn around the economy. Wonderful business women leaders that you are now famous throughout the country was Meg Whitman. Meg worked with him. So. I also can't say enough about being in Wisconsin and being thrilled to have Paul Ryan and his wife Jana as part of our team. approaching the fiscal cliff, that we have economic problems in this nation that have to be addressed and have to be solved. And we are so grateful for a man that has that much courage, intelligence, integrity. We love Paul Ryan. Plexiglass cover, and the balloons were dropping, and they were just diving. They were like dolphins. But our advanced staff knew that there was going to be another balloon drop, and they were truly going to be buried in the balloons. And, but they didn't mind. They loved it. That was their favorite part of the convention. There was a story told at the convention that I'd like to retell, and the ability to let you know what kind of a person it is, how he is a person that cares. And we know that he, by having these women with us today, we know that he cares about women, and he cares about being good for women, and he cares that these past 4 years have been the most difficult on women. Do you know that more women have become unemployed than men in the last 4 years? Do you also know that more women have fallen into poverty in the last 4 years? So I know we need to have women out there understand that Mitt is a person that cares, that Mitt is a person that will work harder than anyone, that will be there, and he also will not fail. Ted was a fireman in Medford, Massachusetts, when Mitt and I were young parents. And I do remember how old one of my sons was, because he was just learning how to talk, and it sticks in my memory because of that. My son Ben was 2. I will tell you that now, my son Ben is a doctor. And I think it is no surprise that Ben, when he was just getting a perception of the world around him, was being involved in things that made him see that we care for one another, that we take care of one another. So the story of Pat and Ted Oprowski is that they were just friends of ours. They were members of our congregation. And one of their sons, David Oprowski, became ill with a leukemia. Now, Mitt continued to be friends with the family. He would visit the family. But David ended up having to spend a great deal of time in a hospital. I think he was in and out of the hospital for a period of 7 months before his death. And during those 7 months, Mitt would often visit with David, and they became very good friends. And it's interesting to think that Mitt was actually very busy at that point in his life. He also was raising 5 little boys of his own. And he was actually, he would have only been 4, Ben was 2. Craig wasn't around. But what did Mitt do? He was there, and there for this family. So in one of those conversations, he discovered that David liked fireworks. So in his next visit, Mitt made sure to tell David that he had bought him a very large box of fireworks, and big fireworks for David when he got out of the hospital to be able to set up, which David did, by the way. And his family remembers that so fondly because they said it was a reprieve from the heavy-heartedness that they had in caring for this boy. In another visit, David knew that Mitt was going to Harvard Law School, and he told Mitt that he wanted to have a will. Now, can you imagine a 14-year-old boy probably doesn't have many possessions, but he was concerned about what he would leave: his favorite rifle, his skateboard, some of his art materials. And so Mitt, the next visit, wrote out David's will. And another visit, David was planning his funeral. And this is where it really gets me. He said to Mitt, I know who I want to speak at my eulogy. Mitt, I want you to speak at my funeral. And Mitt did. And how amazing is that? That this is, to me, how we measure a person. Is that how we care for one another. Of hearing the stories about a man that's heartless, that only cares about profit. We know what Mitt cares about. Mitt cares about people. So, here we are, facing a very significant moment in our history. We have a very important election coming up. I was with Barbara Bush a few months ago, and she was very outspoken and frank, like she has a tendency to be. And she said something interesting. She said when she was introducing me that this was the most important election of her lifetime. And I thought, is that amazing? She's 86 or 87 years old. She's lived a long time. She's been married to a president, and her son was president. And I thought, wow. This is the most important election of her lifetime, and it is. It is so important. You guys did it. You did the hard work here in Wisconsin. You guys got involved. And we can do it again, because we've got to make sure that Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney win in November. We love this country. We love everything about the opportunity and the promise that it's given us all. We're so grateful for all of those that have sacrificed before us, that have come here for hope, for opportunity, as my ancestors did. My grandfather, a Welsh coal miner, he'd be stunned to know that his granddaughter would be standing here. He came in a very bad time, 1929, just with not a nickel in his pocket. And yet my father, as a 15-year-old boy, went to work during high school, got a good degree, worked hard, and he built his own business. Mitt is running to make sure that all of those dreamers, all of those people that are working so hard will know that the next generation, the promise of America will always be there for them. So we love this country. We love what it's given for all of us. We love what it will give to our children if we continue to fight and keep America what it has always been, the hope of the earth. God bless America.